Ladies and gents, welcome back to the Random. It's our Takeoff Sports Talk edition. It's your host, as always, Smallwood Worldwide. And you know what time it is. Give some love to the Goodman brothers. We got T, Aj, and G. And once again, I'm your host, Smallwood Worldwide. Today, we bring you our illmatic edition of Takeoff Sports Talk. So, unless you've been living under a rock, you saw this past weekend, Haney, Ryan Garcia, two young titans clashed in the sport of boxing. However, Ryan Garcia came into the bout about 3+ pounds overweight, and of course came in even bigger in the fight. Consequently, that led to him getting a victory there over Haney, knocked him down about 3 times in a fight, and it was quite the spectacle, I would say. So, my question for the fellas, and even myself, should boxing take on what the UFC does and have a backup fighter who actually makes weight in case one of the main event fighters is overweight? I'll start with you.
That's a negative, Ghost Rider. I think that I don't think they should do that because it takes time to prepare for a fight. Both fighters will, even the fighter that prepared for the fight would be at much more of a disadvantage if you just threw somebody in there, unless they were a tomato can or a guy they're supposed to beat. Honestly,
yeah,
I would say that I'll take two parallel differences, and I'll try to make this really, really short. And I'll say that this was the case in both of them. I believe that that Ryan Garcia would have beaten Haney in a truck or in a muck, in a bus or in a bus. You know what I mean? Like, I think that it didn't matter what his weight was. There is weight classes for a reason, of course. I mean, like, let's not be ridiculous. But I think that from a skill set, it was just like Devin Haney drops his right hand, which is perfect for a left hook. Ryan Garcia might have the best left hook in the whole world, as far as the speed and the power that he generates off of his left
yeah,
side.
he's fast.
Yeah, he's super fast.
Then he's like, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna let you go, but to counter off of that, right? The same thing can be said about the Tank fight with Ryan Garcia too. A lot of people felt like, well, if Ryan Garcia was able to rehydrate, he would have beat Tank. Now, he would have been way bigger than Tank, but if you watch the fight, those openings are still going to be there.
Yep.
And Tank's still going to run right through them. And Tank doesn't have the name Tank for no reason. Even at 135 pounds, 5'5", he hits a ton. And he would have dropped Garcia regardless because of the positions he caught him in. He probably would have hurt his ribs still because of the way that he punches and how he punches. He's a smarter fighter. He's a better fighter.
Sharper.
That fight ends the same way 10 times out of 10. The Devin Haney Garcia one. Huh?
He knows where to hit and how to hit.
Yeah.
The
The Garcia Haney one, maybe 7 out of 10 times it finishes that other way. I think that the line in Vegas and the lines that were all over the sports books and all that stuff was so wobbly because they thought that Ryan was unstable. But
yep.
I mean, anybody who's ever paid attention to boxing for more than 2 minutes knows that unstable helps sell fights. So,
hey, pull the Ali.
I mean, whether it's true or not, I mean, that's what he's doing. And the very last thing is basically I want to say that there is a weight class for a reason. If it's over a certain amount, maybe they should cancel the fight, or maybe they should just strip the purse. Like Ryan Garcia won the fight, but he doesn't get a belt. Devin Haney has a built-in excuse for his loss. That those things kind of come out. They kind of make it either way. I don't think Devin Haney's going to lose any money based off of him losing to Ryan Garcia, and Ryan Garcia is not going to lose any chances to fight in title fights because he couldn't make weight. So that's the long story short, to me at least.
Nice. T, what you got?
Well, Aj made some excellent points.
Thank you.
I'm not going to necessarily go the other direction, but I'm going to say, especially, this is a really good example of this as an issue, right? So number one, UFC, part of the reason why they can do that easier is because your record isn't as important in UFC.
Yeah.
Meaning that if you lose a fight, no one, that's not the end of your career in boxing. You lose the wrong fight, and the chances of you being able to continue your lives or whatever, they're decreased significantly.
Right.
And like Aj had mentioned, that weight classes, Aj and Antoine, weight classes exist for a reason. Anyone who's ever been in the ring can tell you that if somebody's heavier than you, and then they're even
It's the difference.
that disparity is even greater on fight night, you're gonna have a really tough time. And Haney is not a power puncher,
No.
right? His KO percentage is not that high. He never should have gotten in the ring with Garcia. There's no when Garcia was heavier than him. Garcia is a sharp puncher. Hits pretty hard. I mean, he may not be the most ballistic hard power puncher, but compared to Haney, he is.
I
And
disagree with that part. Garcia's up there. That left hook is a problem.
yeah, but
He's like
I wouldn't take him over Tank. As far, I mean, like Tank for me is a power hitter. Garcia doesn't hit hard. He's not like a super knockout artist. But in any event, compared to Haney, he definitely is, right? So for Haney to go in as the smaller fighter and a person who's incapable of knocking out people who do make weight, you put yourself in a extremely precarious position. And he didn't lose the belt, but he lost the belt, man. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Mentally, he's not a champ anymore. He's checked out. He got beat up in there.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you would. I mean, you have to put something on display for the fans. They've all paid to get in there and have a main event.
Yeah.
If you put like the number 2 killer in there, that's unfair to the fighter who went through the exercise of making weight. I don't know how you figure out who to put in there, but I just don't think that you can put in that kind of fighter.
If I could just say something real quick, like another thing is that, like the whole idea, the weight classes and stuff, a lot of these fighters, they're like 5'8" and 5'9" trying to fight at 140. Like that's just not natural. Like at the end of the day, they shouldn't be fighting the weight class, but it gives them such an advantage when they rehydrate. So if you want to do something, you got to make it to where they would feel as if, maybe not even just a weight class, maybe even a height class. So that way the weight distribution is the same. But go ahead, TJ.
No, that's a good point. But I know you can't put in, the like I said, the number 2 killer in there instead, because you spent time preparing for this guy, and now you're in there with somebody who knew that they were going to be an alternate against one of them, so they at least can prepare better than you could. So that's unfair to the champ or whomever made weight. So I don't know exactly how you resolve it, but I know that in this case, I don't think Haney should have gone through with it because he lost in every way possible.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna jump in and I'm gonna let G take us home on this topic. I think that I would like to see it. I would like to see it where the champ and the challenger both have a person they both agree with being a backup in case somebody does miss weight. Watching this fight, I'm gonna agree with you, T, and I didn't think of it that way watching the fight just because I was excited for it. I don't think Haney should have been in there, period, with Garcia. Garcia, when I tell you he was much bigger, it was almost like he was beating a kid at one point in there. And it wasn't as pronounced as the Spence fight for as far as the beating, but this one was more like somebody throwing their weight around like their kid brother or something, And so when I watched the fight, I couldn't help but think, well, what if he had somebody that actually made weight, right? That was within the proper proportions, but maybe not the number 2 contender. Again, somebody that they both agree upon that, hey, if Haney misses weight by, and I'm not talking about like half a pound or a couple pounds, but by a significant amount, that would make a difference because they're going to rehydrate and they're going to become that much bigger, right? You need to have something agreed upon where it's not just like, okay, he missed weight and it's okay. And so then when he rehydrated, he came in there like, man.
Monetarily, he did catch a beat down as far as Ryan Garcia. But I mean, if you make money off the gate, then you can make up for that.
Yeah. I would love to see that done maybe with lesser known fighters first, just to see how it would go. I have seen it done successfully in UFC, but also to Aj's point, where somebody made the point where also styles make fights, and in UFC, the guy who's the champ has gotten upset like that before because there's somebody's style they did not prepare for. Maybe they prepared for somebody with better stand-up, and now that person is out and they got to deal with somebody with grappling. right? And then that person may not even be the top grappler in the world, but this person was not prepared for that, and they take that out. Also, I don't want it from a fan's perspective. I think Amanda Serrano had a fight in Puerto Rico, and literally the night of the fight ended up having to pull out, and they canceled her fight, and the fans were there to see her. You know, and so it's tough. But G, what you got for us on that?
Yeah, I don't believe in all this switching up fighters at the last minute and blase, blase, blase. That's just crazy, because when you're preparing to fight somebody, you're preparing to fight that person. To switch it up at the end is unfair for everyone. It's just silly. Now, what does need to happen is these things have to be in the contract before the fight. This should be between the fighters. They should have an agreement on if you can rehydrate up your weight. If you come in over a certain amount of weight, you can't come in and then fight and all that stuff. And I think what happened with Garcia, as far as him being penalized with everything that he did, you know, with the whole being overweight and all that other stuff, that's the way it should be. It should be worked out. You should be penalized if you do come over your weight. You lose a certain amount of money. You can't get the title and all these other things. Because, I mean, when it comes down to it, if you take those 3 pounds off of Garcia, he still would have won the fight. I mean, you can say that 3 pounds made a huge difference, but not so much, because the name of the game is to get hit and not get hit. And he was touched. So you take 3 pounds off of that, he's still getting touched and he's still going down.
Listen, when
now
it'd
be different if you came in and he was like 20 pounds overweight or something like that. But 3 pounds, I mean, it does make a difference. And I'm not gonna say it's like it's nothing.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still, the name of the game is to hit and not get hit, and he was getting hit. Right?
Go ahead, TJ. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I was gonna say 2 quick things. Number one, the lighter you are, the more impact that has. 3 pounds is no big deal if you're, 190 pounds, but 40, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not. That's why I'm saying there has to be some kind of penalty for it still. There still has to be. You're still gonna have to pay for you not holding up your end of the bargain, and that should have been in the contract in the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, Garcia looked like he could have been 170 that night. That's how much.
Once again,
he walks around at 160.
Yeah,
because he's because he's like 5'8", 5'9". He walks around at 160. So
his ability to take a punch too, though, has to be wonderful. And Haney
all
can't
these
hit.
things.
Like,
if he knows that he has the capability to come in at a certain weight and all that other stuff, you handle, and you don't want that, you handle that in the contracts before the fight.
Yeah.
If not, you can weigh in and then you can drink a bottle of friggin' Gatorade and put on 10 pounds all of a sudden. That's on you for not checking that. You should have checked that at the beginning. That's not what you wanted.
That's why I think Tank
to go to Roy Jones route and Roy Jones is the guy that didn't care. He said, come in at whatever weight, I'm gonna take you out because you can't hit me and I'm gonna hit you.
Yeah, but he's Roy Jones. I mean, Devin Haney is not Roy Jones. That was my whole point.
You're right. Which means Devin Haney should have had a management team to be like, hey man, in this contract it states that you are supposed to come in at the proper weights that we provided, or we ain't giving you your money.
His management team should have taken care of him.
Exactly. So this is
all to not be delusional about his own ability. You can't expect that.
I believe that he believed that he could win regardless.
Right.
He said what?
Yeah, I mean, I
believe that he believed he could win regardless.
Of course he believed it, and he should have believed it. He should believe wholeheartedly that he was going to win, and he should have believed he was going to win handily. But that just ain't the case. But if you do have these concerns, you handle that in the contracts. Because you know who doesn't have those kind of problems or didn't have those kind of problems? Floyd Mayweather. Because Floyd Mayweather was not having any of that. He said, you come here at 0.2 pounds overweight if you want to. What's going to happen is you're going to go home broke because I'm taking all of it.
I mean, that's...
So I think this is all to be handled by the fighters, between the fighters and their management team. And even if someone does come in overweight, they should be able to put a limit on the weight.
Oh yeah.
All these things need to be happening. These are negotiation problems between the fighters. This ain't something that boxing needs to take control of. These are something the fighters need to handle between themselves and their contracts.
Yeah, and if you go over weight a certain amount, maybe be an automatic L, and they don't fight, and it just automatically counts it as a victory.
Yeah,
but you know what? I would take that too.
Something like that, then said fighter who ruined the fight because he couldn't get his weight together may have to pay back the event manager, whoever, and give him back all the money. Like you can put in penalties and things to take care of these kind of things. But the main thing, it has to be taken care of between the fighters beforehand. Because if Devin
Williamson,
yeah. Because if he felt that uncomfortable with it, he's gonna try. Well, I don't think he actually did use it as an excuse, not as much as his fans did. But if you're gonna use that as an excuse, then you should have thought of that beforehand. And it shouldn't even be the boxer thinking about that. He needs to be working on boxing. That's his management team.
But I mean, if this is a pay-per-view event and people pay $100, you can't just be like, "Oh, main event's off." Sorry.
Yep.
Once again, all that stuff needs to be in contracts. I mean, he can still fight him, and he just works for free that night.
He shouldn't have fought him.
Hey, you won the fight, buddy.
Yeah.
Good luck finding money for that cab to get home. I'm taking the whole purse.
I'm gonna send him home via cab.
Yeah. That fatty, you came in overweight.
No need to body check.
But you get for coming in here drinking water. But that's where I think it needs to be handled. This needs to be handled all between the contracts. Boxing stepping in before you know it. If they step in, it's just going to be a whole bunch of goofiness and silly rules and blah, 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 blah. This is a management problem, and the managers need to handle it. That's what I think.
Now, all good points taken around there. So shout out to Garcia for the win. Haney, he'll bounce back from. Oh yeah, he'll bounce back from the butt being in the air. There's been worse things happening, right? So we'll go ahead and move on to our next topic here. NBA playoffs are on right now, and it's all the rage. And with the playoffs come GOAT talk. So before we get into this sauce talk here, let me see. Everybody talks about the GOAT, greatest of all time. I think it's disrespectful to have a singular person because of eras and things of that nature. Even if I think it's MJ, I still get it. What we want to do today, our top 5 GOATs. Doesn't matter position, doesn't matter what era they played in. Who are your top 5 best players of all time? T, we're gonna start with you.
Number 5. You want all 5?
Give me your number 5 first.
Okay. All right. Number 5, I got the man, Magic Johnson.
Oh, nice. Please.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to be quick because we got so many to go through. So I mean, I put Magic in for, I guess, maybe 3 or 4 main reasons, right? So number 1, he resurrected the NBA. Now, I know it was the rivalry with Bird and all that, but I gave it to Madge because he kind of edged him out as far as championships and that kind of thing. Plus, I gave it to him for the institution of Showtime. I mean, come on, man. No one has ever done more to unlock the potential of open floor basketball. I mean, he just threw just crazy passes that still haven't even been duplicated today. He just brought so much excitement to the game. He changed how the game was played. The floor was seen, and he did something else that I attribute to Magic Johnson. The whole idea of Laker pride, I associate that with him and what he did, and resurrecting the sport and bringing championship culture to Los Angeles. So he's my number 5.
I'm gonna slide in just because he's my 5 too. And all I'm gonna say is this really, really fast. He has a top 5 career highlights reel. If you just put on best plays Magic Johnson, you'll be stuck on that joint for half a day. And that's my point. That's it. I'm done. Magic's my 5 as well.
Nice. I'm gonna jump in for the same reason. My number 5 is Magic Johnson, Irvin Magic Johnson, Showtime Lakers. Lives the surface with a smile. He's just, I always thought he's overlooked in a GOAT debate. What'd you say?
It's getting disrespectful in here. All y'all got Magic 5. It's getting disrespectful in here.
Well, Greg, what has Magic Johnson ever done, Greg?
5 titles?
Huh? He's got 8. Donald Sterling. Donald Sterling did that. I'm sorry. I had to do it. He's got 8. You know what I mean? It's like, what? That's all you got.
It's like, what? Listen,
he made Donald Sterling's top 5 most hated Negroes.
He did. And that's a hell of a list to get in. You want to talk about hard to crack? I mean, wow. I'm sorry.
Nah,
I didn't
yo,
mean to derail.
nah,
I didn't mean to derail.
Yo,
Yo,
Madge made it on this list.
I'm just being brief. Magic Johnson had if you looked at the NBA career, and it were me, I want Magic Johnson's career. G, who you got at 5?
That's a
Wilt Chamberlain. I've got Wilt Chamberlain for the simple fact, the only reason he is 5 is because he only has 2 titles. Everything else that he did in his career will never be seen again. Like, if they actually counted blocks for his whole career, I don't know when they started counting them, but I know they left off like half of his blocks. We're talking about another record that would never be touched.
Oh yeah.
Wilt Chamberlain is a freak of nature, and everybody thinks that what's the boy's name down in San Antonio?
Wembyama?
Yeah, Wembyama. Gosh, I cannot say that kid's name.
Wembyama.
If they think Wembyama is something, then you couldn't even imagine what Wilt was like. Wilt was he was unstoppable, except for when it came to playing the Celtics, apparently, who had a much better team. And, when people always try to put him and Bill Russell there, Bill Russell has a better team. Wilt Chamberlain is a better player.
But Wilt gave him work, though.
Huh? Of
Wilt
course
was
he
giving
gave
him work.
Yeah, he gave him work, but, he couldn't beat the whole team by himself.
No.
Yeah, Bill Russell just had the better team. But as far as the things that Wilt Chamberlain did, we'll never see that again. I don't think we'll ever see. I mean, even with a player like Shaq, who is amazingly dominant, his dominance wasn't close to what Wilt was doing. Wilt is the biggest freak of nature to ever touch an NBA floor. But he didn't win much, so he's number 5.
Nice. We're going to jump to number 4. I'm going to jump in first. You mentioned the name, most dominant, Shaquille O'Neal. He's my number 4, greatest of all time. I think that obviously had he put in more effort, he probably would have had even more chips, but for what he did in the time that he did it and against the competition, he kind of played against the old guard and a bit of the new guard. Shaq just proved that he was literally unstoppable. And plus, I like watching him tear down rims. So I'm just going to say Shaq, number 4. I think ended with 4 championships in his career. He heavily underrated. I think people don't realize in his early days in Orlando and in the Lakers back when they had I forget the dude with the white hair. Huh?
Early 2000 Shaq was a problem.
Yeah, early 2000 Shaq was a fucking problem, yo. Like, he was insane. And
the refs were a
defense,
problem.
offense. Nah. Shaq looked like a creative player in that Laker jersey, yo. They matter of fact, they had problems even getting the jersey to fit. This dude was sprinting. Every look, full court. He can have handles. Listen.
You know who was handling the guys with the whistle? That's who was handling back then.
Are you a Portland Trailblazer fan? No, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm not. Oh, I'm not. You know what I'm saying?
Give us your number 4, Aj.
Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't expect this to come back on me. I can only say it one way. They say ooh and ah when I jump in my car. People scream like I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That's what this is all about, guys. If you in basketball life, you could probably say he is the greatest basketball player ever. If you went basketball life, but if we're just talking professional, I'm gonna go with 4, and I'm gonna go with the El Capitan Kareem. He never really had a completely garbage team. He had Oscar Robertson, and then he had Magic Johnson. So I mean, but he also was the center and the anchor for it.
And he also had a career in Milwaukee.
Yeah. When he was Luau, he played with Oscar Robertson, and he was ridiculous. So I mean, like, they still got a statue of him in the books to this day. They still got him. They still got him up. So, I mean, there's an argument to be made, of course, that he is the greatest of all time. But on my list, he's number 4, because he had really great teams that he played on as far as his teammates go. But I mean, like, only LBJ could have broken that record, because only he had more longevity and had a scoring clip that could rival someone like Kareem. So, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Nice. T.
Man, I love Kareem. I wanted to put him on here, but I ended up putting Bill Russell as number 4.
Oh, wow.
And my reasons for that were, I mean, he was the first Black superstar, really. First black head coach
Mm-hmm.
while he was still playing. He's the winningest player ever. He won 11 championships in 13 years. And he made he did it, with attributes that were, not really offense, right? I mean, blocking, rebounding, and all that kind of stuff. A really hard way to win. And he did it quite a lot and quite consistently. And he was also a civil rights activist, and I think he might have been responsible for the first all black starting lineup as well. But I mean, in my mind, when we're talking greatest, sometimes I'm thinking about outside of the game, and Kareem was great about those things too, which is why I struggle with this one, because he's written a lot of books, and he's always been. I mean, I don't know how long he had the scoring record, probably 30, almost 40
years.
40 years.
But just as, I guess, to sum up Bill Russell's career, looking at it side by side, I had to put him there.
But you know what I respect about that pick? And it's the thing I hate about the game today? Defense. People overlook defense. People think if you're not nice if you don't average this amount of points. People forget there's rebounding, there's blocks, there's steals. There's a whole nother segment of the game where role playing, I think that fails a lot of today's NBA players, but that's another conversation. But heavy respect on that pick. G, what you got?
Number 4, I've got Magic Johnson. Now listen, we're talking about a man who had been able to finish his career would have put that assist record so far out of reach, no one would ever be able to touch it. Not only that, as far as leaders go, he's one of the best leaders of all times in all of sports. He's a motivator. He's just is so innovative on the basketball.
He's got AIDS. I'm sorry. I had to do it. I'm sorry.
But it's crazy. He defeated that too. 6 wins. No.
Yeah, and he beat that too. He's undefeated.
I just wanted to do it. I'm sorry. I don't mean that at all, man.
The ropes. Magic beat it.
I don't mean that at all.
Which proves why his name is Magic Johnson. You gotta have a Magic Johnson to beat AIDS. He's the best.
Wow.
But on top of that, just the level of innovation on the court.
Magic.
Just, the court vision, like there's not too many people that have been blessed with that. Actually, I don't think anyone has been blessed with that level of court vision. There's a couple of guys that have come close that are right up there, but Magic Johnson is one of a kind. Plus, to be a 6'10" point guard is just unheard of. Even to this day, that sounds crazy. He was doing it back in the late 70s and early 80s. He's a consummate winner. He won 5 championships, went there 9 times. Basically, every year in the 80s, Magic Johnson was featured in the finals. Like there was every single year, it was guaranteed that you was gonna see Magic Johnson up there with that big smile and that goatee out there destroying people. And another thing, I mean, he was almost unguardable at that position. I've only seen one person give him slight discomfort and difficulty, and that was Scottie Pippen.
What?
Because that first game with Jordan was guarding him, he put a triple double up.
He was lunch.
Yeah, Magic was, and to be honest, I still might be underrating him at 4. He's one of the greatest innovative basketball players that we've ever seen. And yeah, I mean, like I said,
I'll jump in as you finish. I'll just say I've never seen anybody make the game look as easy as he did.
I've seen someone make it look easier, but I've never seen someone make the point guard position look easier. I'll say that.
I love it what you did.
But yeah, Magic is number 4. Beast.
Right. So since you're already talking, give us your number 3.
Oh, my number 3 is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Oh.
The only reason that he's over Magic, because I believe in the last 4 championships that he received, Magic was the catalyst for those championships. But the reason why he's above Magic is because he's got one other title, and he had held the scoring title for the longest run that anyone's ever scored, ever held the scoring record, 40 years plus. He had the most unstoppable move still to this day to ever touch a basketball court, and that is the sky hook. I mean, everybody's got their signature move, and other people can still really do other people's signature moves, like Gervin with the finger roll.
Yeah.
Wilt Chamberlain with the fadeaway and the little dipper thing that he does. Other people do that, and ain't nobody else out here mastered the sky hook. And it seems like something that you should master because it's an unstoppable move. But he's the only one to do it. He did it consistently for, I don't know how long his career was, 22 years, 23 years.
Yep.
And plus, if we're gonna count stuff outside of the court, I mean, people say that Kareem is very, I guess frosty is the word that they use a lot. Not a lot of personality, but I tell you right now, yeah, aloof. That's the word, aloof. But he is up there with one of the most brilliant, not even athletes. He's a brilliant man.
Yeah.
He's extremely smart, and he's very about his people and our business. So it's one thing to carry that level of greatness on the court. It's even harder to carry that level of greatness off the court. So he's a guy that's there's very few people that are in that rare air that have that level of accomplishment on and off the court as far as representing a people. Now, if he was a little bit more personable, who knows where he would have been on this list if he was, a little bit nicer.
No personality, yeah.
If he had Magic Johnson's personality, who knows what was going, where he could have went to. But as far as him as a straight up ball player, I mean, what else can you say? You can't not be at the top and have the scoring title for 40 years and have an unstoppable move and have 6 titles and have been to the chip how many times?
Most MVPs as well. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, most MVPs as well.
Yeah, most MVPs as well. And he was rocking the ball before Jordan. I'll give him that. Yeah, he didn't do like he when he came home quick. He didn't do like Clyde Drexler and just hold on to that flesh yarmulke. That with that little helicopter landing pad in the back of his head. He was like, "Nah, just give it a razor. I'm gonna show you."
Man, you ain't gotta talk about Glide like that, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, chill.
Glide.
But yeah,
that's my number 3. I'm gonna jump in and be quick. My number 3 is Kareem. And for everything that Greg said, and I'm just gonna have to mention it, the sky hook. I bet you know. What you got?
Oh my God. So my number 3.
There's nothing else to say about Kareem. Listen, everything he said is what I thought. That's it. Wow.
Yeah. Sometimes I dream that he is me. You understand what I'm saying? It's Michael Jordan. It's Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan. Number 3.
That's insane. But go ahead.
Let me finish.
Oh wait, I thought you were just.
No, I'm not playing. Michael Jordan's 3.
All right, there, Chocolate Nick. Right? Let's hear it.
I mean, there's not much I can say. I mean, Michael Jordan. I will say that at the peak of Michael Jordan, and he could be number 1 tomorrow. I mean, to be fair, but Michael Jordan at his peak is the greatest player I've ever personally seen, as far as like at his peak.
Amen.
But as far as, and this is not racist, praise the Lord, and we're not talking about anything outside of basketball. You want to talk about a highlight package? He's incredible. Really, honestly, he's the perfect basketball player. I don't have a reason to have him 3, maybe other than to be controversial. But I got him at 3 just because.
This is Kirk Cousins' level of shot right here.
No. I believe that I have him at 3 because I believe there's 2 people who've had who are better than he is, and that's it. I don't have a reason. I don't have a reason other than that. I don't have anything negative to say about Michael.
I need to borrow the time stone from Thanos right now. I need to fast forward on this to see what's good. But
I don't have anything negative to say about Michael Jordan. I mean, Republicans buy shoes too, and they got AIDS. Oh, never mind. Sorry, TJ.
Oh, so me? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my number 3, kids may ask, "Oh, hey, Dad, why is the lane that wide? Why is this rule in place? Why? Because of Wilt Chamberlain. That's why I got him at 3 because, I mean, the guy has every record imaginable, not just records, like ridiculous, cartoonish kind of records that you could never fathom that one person could be able to do. I don't care who else was playing with him. I mean, widening the lane because of Wilt. Institution of offensive goaltending because of Wilt. Revising the rules governing inbounding the ball and shooting free throws because of Wilt. I mean, everything that this man was out on the court, he was nothing short of the most dominant thing that we've ever seen from a basketball perspective. Now, granted, Shaq played in a more difficult era, and he was extremely dominant too. But Wilt has, like I say, just cartoonish numbers. I mean, his records are so outrageous, they don't even typically mention them when they're talking about records. They're just, yeah, Wilt, we know that stuff. Let's just go ahead and start below there.
Yeah. To quote Larry Bird, every time you do something, they're like, "Who's going for number 2?" That's what it is. Who's going for the second spot?
Who's getting second place for that damn warm up?
Who's getting second place?
Can you imagine being so far out in front that people forget that you were even in the race? It's amazing.
That's nuts.
Well, that's why I got him at number 3.
Nice.
Like, we're excited when we see somebody score 50 points. We're like, man, he had a game. We'll average that a year.
Yo, chill, God.
That's what's crazy.
Taking the guy's points, God. Relax.
That means he had games higher than that.
Yeah. Double. Literally double that.
Yeah, I was about to say, nobody's gotten there since. And it's not because they lack trying either.
Yeah.
Jordan tried, Kobe tried, everybody. Carmelo shot 200 shots to get the 62 points. Everybody.
Yeah.
What was that dude?
Keep going.
That
you know what I mean?
No. That's my 3. My number 3.
Nice. So I'll jump in with my number 2. No controversy at all. LeBron James. So LeBron James, I think, is probably the greatest all-around ball player that I've ever witnessed in my lifetime. And I don't even think it's close. His level of IQ, he knows the plays better than your coach, his coach, their team, his team. He's just absolutely ridiculous. And you don't need me to recount right now my fandom for him in terms of from the time he was 16 years old, just how he handled that and becoming a pro, living up to the hype, surpassing the hype. That's like ultra rare. That's like never happens, right? And so to see where he is now at 39 years old, and he's not just in phenomenal shape, like, a six-pack and a chest, right? No, this dude is up and down the court like a gazelle. He's blocking shots. He's efficient. He knows how to get
in the top 15 player.
He's arguably like a Terminator. If you put him on a much better team right now, they might go 15-1 or 16-0 in the playoffs. I don't know which team that is. Maybe somebody's wearing that jersey here right now. I don't know. But I'm just saying, if you put him on a certain team right now, they wouldn't be stopped. So LeBron is just a phenomenon that we may never see again. And as much as I think Wemby has the ceiling is the roof for him, LeBron is just special in ways that, you can't begin to recount. So he's my number 2. I'll save it for another time when he retires to give him his proper powers.
I forgot about the ceiling is the roof quote. You know what? Michael Jordan is the one now. Ceiling is the roof.
Who you got as your number 2?
I think he's talking to you, T.
Oh, to me? Oh, okay. I also have LeBron James. King James. You laid it out real good for us, Antoine. And one of the things that I respect so much about LeBron James is not just that in his immaculate, impeccable career on the basketball court, outside the court, the man has never been in any trouble. He's never been anything but a great citizen. He's been an ambassador for this game. He's grown the game to a worldwide. I mean, I guess it was worldwide when he started, but he has lifted it even more than what it was before. And well, I'll just say it, Michael Jordan is such a looming figure. It's so influential that when Michael Jordan was on his way out, the person who kind of took over the league for a little while, Kobe, well, really did his best to try to be exactly like Michael Jordan. LeBron James, even though he idolizes Michael Jordan, he was brilliant enough and strong enough to do it his own way. You know, he chose his own way to play the game. He saw, you know, he sees the court from LeBron's eyes, not from somebody else's. And I've always respected that immensely. I think he's earned the name King James, and he's my number 2.
Nice. Arch, what you got?
My number 2 is, of course, the incomparable Mark Eaton. Listen, I think that. Oh, sorry.
We are not in Utah.
Back to Utah. No, I'll be quick then. It's also LeBron James. He has a career triple-double with 40,000 points, 11,000, I think, rebounds, or is it assists?
Something like that.
No, I think maybe it's 10,000 rebounds, 11,000. He's got 10,000 plus of 3 different categories that you shouldn't just be walking around here with. And that says a lot about him. His longevity says everything that you need to know about how he takes care of his body. The fact that he is one of the best players in the league right now. He just refuses to leave the club. He's the old guy in the club. He just refuses to leave. And he's
still booking youngins.
He's still booking.
He's the old guy in the club, still booking youngins. You know, sneaking out of college campuses is 30 plus.
You know, first of all, happy Women's Day. You know, happy Women's Month. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's LeBron James is still out here. He's out here. Yeah. But I mean, like, you know, Jordan was so great. I think that if you asked him to explain it, he couldn't necessarily put things into words. He's just do stuff. He was like an artist, just did things, and they were crazy. And if you asked him to explain it or to tell someone else to do it, he wouldn't be able to. LeBron James is not only physically one of the, if not perhaps the most gifted person, maybe next to Vince Carter as far as just pure athleticism that's ever played basketball. And Michael Jordan's in that conversation too. But his, from a mental capacity, I don't think there's anybody better than LeBron. Just nobody from thinking the game up and down, and then being able to apply that thought process there, even as you get older, which is crazy because what usually happens is when you're younger, you go too fast, you don't overthink the game. When you're older, you realize how to play the game, but you can't play the game the same way because your body doesn't allow you to. And that's not the case with him. He can just do everything because he's LeBron James. And that's
why? Because when he was in South Beach, he took care of his body.
Yeah. I mean, like, he just
every year he pays for it.
He's always been he does something that you want the younger generation to do, and that is he always thought about the next year as opposed to the next day. And he's a shining example of that through and through.
Cats was laughing at him. He spends $1.5 million a year on his body, and I'm like, look at him now.
Yeah.
Yep.
He can
$1.5 million to become a billionaire.
Yeah. His vehicle, his stock was his body, and he invested. He invested every time he got paid. So that's LeBron James.
Most stuff. G.
Oh, number 2 is LeBron James.
Oh,
and if he's number 1 on anybody's list, I got no real argument for you. I understand. LeBron James is the greatest technical basketball player that I've ever seen in my life. He is to basketball what Floyd Mayweather is to boxing. He's the most. He studies the best, and he always does what the right thing to do is in the moment. He's he's out there playing chess with a bunch of guys that are playing checkers. his mind, not just the physicality part of it. Physically, he's just dominant as well. But there's been lots of guys that have been physically dominant in the league. His mind is one of the greatest basketball minds, maybe the greatest basketball mind that's not holding a clipboard to ever be out there. He's remarkable in every facet of the game. Not only that, just like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and these other guys, the older he got, the more he evolved his game. Mm-hmm. He came in as a high flyer, go to the rim, dunking. Now it is year 20, what, 21? 20? 21.
21.
It doesn't matter. The man's career is old enough to get a drink at the bar. All right. And he just shot 41% from the 3-point line. Before, the whole game plan was to push him out to the 3-point line.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about a man who's thought his way through and evolved his game. Not only that, just the level of commitment he has to the game is amazing. And I mean, there's a couple of things that he's done that we're also never going to see again. One, the amount of points that he scored total. By the time he's finished, he might hit 50,000 because he looks like he's got 4 or 5 good years left in him. That's one.
It's just,
number two. I don't think we're ever going to see anyone average another triple-double in a finals. Whether he won or lost, who gives a shit? It is a triple-double in the finals.
Yeah. He led all statistical categories.
And it was almost a 40-point triple-double. That's what
Best flow, realest stories. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and his interviews were hotter. That's another thing. And he led all people, not just his team, all the people in every statistical category. We're probably never gonna see that again. And then my favorite one. He came down from 3-1 in the finals.
Oh, man.
Now somebody else may be able to do that.
Oh.
But are they gonna be able to do that against the team with the greatest regular season record in history? We will never see that again.
What we just
guys who can both go nuclear.
Yep.
Steph and Clay at that time would go nuclear at any moment.
Yep. It is one of the great. He's. I said, if anyone has LeBron James at number 1, I'm not mad at you.
If I could rap, I would have a mixtape song called Game 6 Clay, because that's how crazy they used to go.
Yeah.
Clay was crazy.
Yeah. But I mean, there's been even when Michael Jordan was playing, I don't know if maybe the league's changed, the way things go has changed. I don't think that any team has ever built and found a cheat code to try and beat Jordan. That team that had a 73-9 record knew that they could never beat this man.
They had to get the Avengers out. They
had to get who at the time was the second greatest player in the league on their team, along with the third best player that was in the league that was already on the team. So, and people try and talk crazy and they say they don't fear LeBron James and all this. Could have fooled me. You could have fooled me.
You don't go get Kevin Durant if you don't fear LeBron James.
People don't go call up Kevin Durant because they know they can't win. I mean, Bravehearts don't do that. Bravehearts say, yeah, we can get this guy. We'll get him next year. They knew that wasn't going to happen.
No. They knew he would have got him if he had one more healthy player that was halfway decent in 2015, too. He was up 2-1, but everybody was hurt.
Yeah, that's the other thing. LeBron, and that's one knock that I can have against him. There's 2 knocks that I have against him. His record in the finals, but, if you want to call out history the correct way, half of those finals, it was just, come on, man, like, impossible to win. Him at 22 years old playing against a well-seasoned dynasty Spurs team where it was basically him and 3 niggas named Pookie. Like, he wasn't gonna win that. Let's just be honest. That's not possible.
But go look at that Spurs team. They were loaded. Like,
yeah,
fully
that's what I'm saying.
loaded.
It's not possible for that to win. A 22-year-old guy.
He
with
had
a bunch
Ricky
of
Davis.
dudes that probably couldn't have made the G League now on his team. That's one.
Yeah.
The other one, he lost Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving. So his best player in that finals, along with him, was Dellavedova against the greatest shooting backcourt and a defensive player of the year.
Yep.
And you're gonna hold that against them? He wasn't supposed to win that. The only thing he can hold against them is the loss to the Mavericks. And to be honest, I kind of blame that on coaching.
Yep.
I mean, LeBron James did fold, but there should have been a way where you could have everyone was down on that one. Spo got
it's one thing to lose one game.
Young coach. Yeah. LeBron James was trying to instead of being Superman and saving everybody, he was trying to be in the Justice League. And it was like Superman being like, well, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't stop the asteroid. Maybe we'll let you do it, Batman. Let's be a team player instead of him just being Superman like he should have been.
I think it's fine that he failed in that finals because his response to failing in that finals is one of the other reasons why he's one of the greatest. All he did was just get better at everything. He made it to where all those weaknesses turned into strengths, and now he shoots 41% from 3-point line, and that's from the streets where I come from, sucker.
Yeah. So to wrap this all up, LeBron James is number 2, and the only reason he's number 2 is because of that loss against the Mavericks. And actually, yeah, that's really the only reason, to be honest. Everything else is, I mean, perfect. He's almost perfect. Like, even his losses, he's perfect, which is crazy to say. But I've never seen anyone who I was like, this dude is the MVP with the L at the end of it, with the L on the record. He's amazing. So if anyone does have a number 1, I got no real argument for you.
Never.
And
he's 1B for me.
Yeah, really. I grew up in the 90s. That's all I got for you.
All right. So number 1, who you got, T?
I like the way that you phrase that 1B because I feel like LeBron's more of a 1B than a 2, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Number 1, I do have Michael Jordan. You know, I'm a 90s guy myself. He is the single most amazing player that I've ever seen play basketball. Every night that he played, he did something crazy. It's almost like he was, engineered to be the best. He learned under great coaches. Bill Jackson being the last notable one. Well, he had in most of his career.
His whole, pretty much.
Yeah,
his whole winning career.
Yeah, I'm gonna say. I guess you kind of have to count the dog years in DC, but just to be fair, but he was a brick wall, man. Nobody could get past him once he got to a certain point. And his mentality, I think, is what makes him go to me. He was just so mentally tough. All of the working out that the guys do nowadays, a lot of it was inspired by him. He was getting around and he said, you know what, enough of this crap. So he hit the gym, first thing in the morning, grab some of his guys to come in there and work out with him. He worked on his game. He didn't really have any weaknesses that I can remember. And I think prior to him, the game was really built around centers.
That's right.
The game moved out to more of the wings. He is just absolutely spectacular. And, LeBron is not finished writing his story yet. I guess I'll reevaluate when he's done, but he is the most spectacular player that I've seen play basketball.
Nice. G, what you got?
And I'm going to keep this short and sweet like a gay midget. Listen. Michael Jordan has got the highest peak of any basketball player that I've ever seen in my entire life. If you take everyone's peak, he's head and shoulders above everybody by a long shot. I've never seen anyone with a more graceful, pretty game than Michael Jordan. I've never seen anyone with a stronger will and mentality than Michael Jordan. And he's to the point now where I don't think you'll ever be able to put anyone above him in basketball ever. He's one of these guys where the myth of him is too strong to ever take him off the top. He's Ali, he's Bruce Lee, he's Bob Marley, he's Babe Ruth. He is one of those guys where it doesn't matter who comes along, you're never going to be able to push him off that top. Even if you are in the same era as him, he's one of them. And he's the top of the peak. And it doesn't matter who comes along. I don't think you'll ever push him off of there. He's that level of legendary. You know, he's Michael Jackson in tennis shoes. Like, you're not going to push him off the top of the mountain. He's the one.
Nice.
He's Neo. So you can come along, and the best you can do is tie. You ain't going to win. You'll never be like at that spot. His legend is too strong. His legend is so strong that people don't even believe it when you tell them how good he is.
Yep.
Kids like, ain't no way in hell. Ain't no way in hell anyone's that good. Trust me, if you watch the highlights, that's one thing. To watch the game and really see.
Yeah.
And I mean, to defend guys that are playing in this era, Michael Jordan's the people he was going with, it wasn't quite as difficult because people aren't freakishly athletic like they are now.
Yeah.
But the ones that were good were amazing. This is the difference between Jordan's era and the era that's going on now.
Yep.
The best people in either era can play with each other. The difference now is the role players would be stars when Jordan was playing. Like, there's no real weak. There's no Bill Lambiers in the league right now.
Yo, calm down, B.
There's no.
Yo, Bill Lambier was nice though.
Look,
Thank you.
Yeah, and you know what? He wouldn't even make a team now.
Jordan
He wouldn't make a roster now. You telling me the Bill Lambier is gonna get picked up? I doubt it.
Wait. I thought you were talking reverse.
Bill man in DC. I mean, that's got to count for.
No, he's not playing now. He ain't fast enough.
If those guys in DC are playing right now, Bill Lambier would play right now.
No, he wouldn't.
James Edwards would play right now. Vinny the Microwave Johnson would play right now. I'm not going to disrespect them. Listen,
Vinny might. Bill wouldn't. He's not.
I'm not
going to
disrespect.
strong enough, and he's not fast enough. It's
Have
a
you
different.
seen it? Wow.
It's a different league, Antoine.
Wow. Recency bias.
He's coming deep off the bench.
For
he
who?
Ain't strong enough, and
For
he
who?
ain't play now.
For who?
Yo, Bill Lambier would have gone number 3 in the draft.
Like, did you see
No,
the
it
guys who go top 10 overall the last 2 years?
He can shoot. He's a white dude who can shoot and box out and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, he would have gone pretty high.
He might be Jokic right now, the way that Anthony.
Oh, let's not get carried away.
Ain't no way in hell. I'm telling you right now.
I mean, he's no Mark Eaton. Let's calm down on everyone.
You know what Bill Lambier is? Now he's a liability. That's what he is. He don't got the feet to cover anyone outside of the block. They will drag his ass out to the deep water and cross him up so quick.
You're out of order.
And shoot the ball in the crowd and hit you in your face drinking your Sprite.
You're out of order.
These cats have no.
I'm telling you, Bill Lambier would not have a shot in this league right now. They would just drag his ass out the paint and cross him up.
That's enough, man.
And what's he gonna do? Stay on the block? You know who's on the block? Giannis. You think he's dealing with Giannis? No.
Giannis is not. I don't know if Giannis is moving him.
Shit.
He's not strong enough. He's not strong enough.
Giannis is not strong enough to push around Bill. Bill Lambier weighed about 190 pounds.
Bill Lambier has I eat a 40-ounce steak and drink milk body shape, okay? That man was not being moved off the block.
He's built like Ron Burgundy. Okay?
He's not
this
being
ain't
moved.
Tropic Thunder. He's not hanging with anyone who's playing right now.
Oh, man.
Okay? Not happening.
Yeah.
Buddha, Buddha's holding the clipboard in the G League.
I watched a professional horse racer give Anthony Davis work, and he has not a muscle in his body. Okay, he just backs him down.
Yeah, that's a style thing.
What's going on here?
Because he knows how to play. Think about the position that he played. Charles Oakley's not making the league right now. They don't use those kind of guys.
Wow.
Perk's not getting a job.
Wow.
None of these dudes are getting a job. And you know why? Because they're just going to take. Who are they stopping outside of the paint?
Who's worried about stopping Spencer Dinwiddie and his civil rights layup package? Come on, dog. Like, you telling me that Charles Oakley wouldn't do that? Have you seen his layup?
Yeah, and you know why?
No.
Because he would take Charles Oakley. He's not hanging out in the paint. Charles Oakley don't got the feet to move at Dinwiddie.
No.
He ain't got the feet to move with him. He's going to get crossed up. Plain and simple.
Who is Dinwiddie crossing up today? And he's on a
today,
squad.
but he can cross up Charles Oakley because that's not how Charles Oakley plays. He is a guy that hangs out in the paint. None of these guys that hang out in the paint can do this. There's no role players from the 90s that can play today. Not one. All the superstars, absolutely, and they can thrive. Anyone who's not a superstar, ain't no way in hell. You think Kevin Duckworth's getting loose out in these streets?
Who's stopping Kevin Duckworth today?
Anyone who's got the ball on offense. That's who. Because Kevin Duckworth is uncoordinated and he will get crossed the hell up and he'll be in everyone's highlight reel.
Sounds like we should take this to another show.
I'm just saying, like, wait. Are you watching the same game I'm watching today? Listen.
Yes, I'm watching it. And they don't got the lateral movement to keep up with anyone today. Everyone's got a handle. Everyone. There's no hanging out on the block. Nobody plays with their back to the rim.
Next show.
They cannot be up nobody because it ain't in the paint no more.
For the sake of time, I'm going to move on. I'm going to jump in real quick. Oh, no, we're going to get back to this, but not today. Jordan is my number one.
Yeah.
Make it easy.
We got to get Aji, too. Don't forget.
No, Aj did his number 2 already, right?
No, we're on number 1. Aji hasn't done number 1.
Yeah, he's going last.
Yeah,
we have to hear when he has Bill Laimbeer at number 1. So it's like, you're on. There's nothing I need to say about MJ.
I'm on.
It's the mighty Bob Hurley.
Well, I appreciate everybody for let me. Look, I'll just get right to it. Okay, the number 1 player in all of basketball led the league in assists from the center position. That would be Wilt Chamberlain. The number 1 player of all time averaged more than 48 minutes in a game for a season. I know what you're saying. Isn't an NBA game 48 minutes? That's correct. That would be Wilt Chamberlain. You understand? You see where I'm going with this? Do you see where I'm going with this? This is not rocket science, folks. The greatest player of all time is Wilt Chamberlain. I mean, it's Wilt Chamberlain. Anytime you see something ridiculous happen, they show the stat that's like, this hasn't happened since Wilt Chamberlain played. And TJ said it better than I could ever say it. I don't care who's out there playing. I don't care how tall people are or aren't. I could play. You can put me in a thing full of 5th graders right now. I don't think I'm averaging 50. I don't think I'm averaging 50. And I'm not saying I'm not a great scorer by any means, but I'm not averaging, even just tossing the ball like that. I'm not averaging 50. That's insane. That's just part of it. He averaged 50, and then he averaged 28 rebounds, and then he averaged it's outrageous against possibly the greatest team in team sports history. He was putting up these type of numbers. I mean, like when people look at me all funny when I say Wilt Chamberlain's the greatest player ever. It's ridiculous to me. It's like, yo,
No, I was just worried you was gonna have somebody else outrageous. You said Wilt, I breathe a lot easier.
No. I mean, Wilt is my 1B. I mean, of course, you cannot be better than Stacey Augmon. I just think that we need to understand what we're doing here. Yeah, the plastic man.
Oh yeah.
Classic, man.
I think he was hella UNLV.
He was.
UNLV.
Well, yeah. My number one is Wilt, man. He's just people. I'll tell you how vicious Wilt is, and then I'll stop. Wilt, I believe, at the age of 50, could probably with people like Ewing and Olajuwon and all them. I really believe that he could still have gone out there and given you 20.
I mean, I don't think Olajuwon would have been able to stop him. Wilt was nice.
No one's gonna stop him. He stopped. People got to remember he was the one who held the scoring title before Kareem, but he only played for 13 years.
Yep.
And that shit was not reachable until Kareem got there. Matter of fact, he's still like in the top 10 all time. He played 13 years.
Wait, didn't Wilt take Kareem's skyhook out the sky?
He took everything out. He took everything. If I went on about the Paul Bunyan-esque type of shit that Wilt Chamberlain did, we would be here all night. There's not enough time to go over the accolades of this dude. I don't have time for this. He is Shaq if he did track and field in the offseason. That's what he was. Because guess what? In reality, guess what? Wilt Chamberlain was a track and field star. Hey, that's weird. He's a professional volleyball player. It's almost as if he was a fucking the most amazing athlete that's ever lived. He damn sure was damn near that.
Him and Bo Jackson.
You had a shoe. Wilt Chamberlain was so athletic he couldn't even get a shoe. Couldn't even make a shoe for him. The CrossFit, cross training. How many sports can that shoe work for? It's just too many sports. It's too many sports. You can't wear spikes on the hardwood. What? You know what I'm saying? Like that's poke your ass. You know what I'm saying? That's how it is.
Another thing about Wilt Chamberlain that most people don't know, they think just because he was 7 foot whatever, he was just in the paint dunking on people all day.
He was shooting jumpers off the glass.
He was hitting them with the fadeaway all night.
I saw footage of him recently.
All night.
Jumper was wet.
And Antoine, that right there is the reason why people don't rock with Wilt. When I say that, is because you have to say I saw footage of him. They're like, you got to get microfiche to see Wilt. Well, you know what, man? That is just too bad. Okay, he is the best player that's ever lived. That's
what's messed up is they always say that kind of stuff about a guy like Wilt Chamberlain. That's only a basketball thing because I don't recall anyone saying that about Babe Ruth.
Nope.
No one ever says, I didn't see Babe Ruth point to the French swing. Nobody ever says anything about it. They did. We just go along with it. We just ride with it.
Babe Ruth.
And Babe Ruth, I don't even think
you ever seen footage of Babe Ruth?
Yeah.
I mean,
Babe Ruth, the same guy here, Baby Ruth.
Yes, the guy.
We know who he didn't play for.
That's the guy who signed that baseball the other day. Some guy named Baby Ruth. Never mind. Sandlot. He's like Baby Ruth.
But point being, when it comes to Wilt Chamberlain, he is. I said, if he had more chips, I'll put it to you like this: if Wilt Chamberlain ended up with Bill Russell's record, there'd be no conversations for anyone at any point ever.
Oh no.
TJ said it best, man. They changed almost every rule in the game to prevent they did that to prevent him from scoring. And this dude still talking about the last rhyme he wrote. You know what I mean? It's done, man. It's done. It's Wilt Chamberlain. And to me, it's not even a discussion, honestly. And that's controversial, but I'm sticking to it. And that's
actually, it's not controversial when you lay it out like that.
It's more controversial than you would believe. I mean,
people don't watch basketball. They'll say they do, but they don't know much about
action.
What you said just now.
What'd you say?
Oh no, it's
I just caught what you said. That's all.
Kevin Hart sketch that was a long time ago. It was hilarious.
Well, ladies and gents, that's our show for tonight. Give it up for the Goodman brothers. RTG. It's your host, Smallwood Worldwide. And we always like to end on a quote, but in this case, we had Wilt to still at number 1. I'm going to give you a little bit of MJ. Never quit. Once you quit, it becomes a habit. We'll see you again on the next edition of Takeoff Sports Talk. Peace.